Now, Good Morning Washington on your side. We begin with a breaking news alert.
And the breaking news this morning out of Washington, D.C., where a Red Line Metro train derailed with 60 passengers on board. Our John Gonzalez just got to the scene. He's outside of the Farragut stop. Johnny, what can you tell us?
And this is where this all happened almost 2 hours ago now, Atria. This is the corner of 17th and L here in downtown D.C. And this is what we're seeing right here at the Farragut North Metro Station. All commuters, passengers basically gone from this area. What you have is a lot of D.C. police and Metro police and some of the crews, some of the Metro crews. You can see some arriving there just beyond the Metro Transit Police vehicle there. You have more crews arriving as the work below continues. And of course, the investigation continues. But right now, as we come around this way, you can see they've got the whole area taped off. And you have the police officer there letting this young lady know that she is not going to be able to take Metro. You can see she's waving her hands a bit, seems a bit anxious about the situation here. Let's see if we can talk to her real quick, actually. Miss, we see you talking to the police officer that you're trying to take Metro, obviously.
Yeah.
What is he telling you?
The station is closed.
Yeah, they had a derailment this morning.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get to work, and I just got off the shuttle bus, and now
Yeah.
I can't get to work.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hopefully you get to where you need to go. So some confusion this morning. Ryan Hughes is over at Metro Center, where the folks that were on this derailed train were evacuated earlier. Ryan?
Yeah, and John, we just wrapped up a news conference with Mayor Muriel Bowser and the DC Fire Department, rather. They're telling me that this was a 7000 series train that derailed, so that's one of the newer ones. 63 people were on board at the time. Luckily, as we've been mentioning all morning long, that this is a holiday, so that train was not packed with a lot more people heading to work. But take a look at the scene right here, because we still have DC Fire and EMS. Their team just came out from under the tunnel a short time ago. There are fire trucks all over the place. We are at G and 12th Street right now. So just once again, this all happening around 6:40 this morning. We're now learning it was 63 passengers that were on board the Red Line train when it derailed between Farragut North and Metro Center. Those passengers not injured, luckily. We did speak with one rider. He tells us that it was worse than feeling turbulence on an airplane. Nobody was thrown onto the ground or anything like that, but they did report seeing some smoke in the area, but there was no fire in the tunnel. So now DC Fire and EMS, we are being told, are going to be handing over the scene back over to Metro. They will likely have a press conference later on the afternoon to try and release more details. But Julie, right, the Red Line still suspended right now between DuPont Circle. So the shuttle buses have been brought in. Still creating a lot of delays this morning, though.
Yeah, Ryan, and we just saw that from a person that John Gonzalez was there interviewing. Some confusion about the shuttle buses now. WMATA is telling us that shuttle bus service has been made available for you, has been for over an hour now, but the Red Line service suspended between DuPont Circle and Judiciary Square for this ongoing investigation, and most likely this suspension will be till further notice. So again, Red Line service, you'll want to stick with the buses traveling between DuPont Circle and Judiciary Square. Quickly out on the outer loop here at Eisenhower Avenue, the crash with the right side getting by at this point. Be careful of that. And then the water main break out here along Duke Street between Somerville and Pickett Streets. It's blocking the entrance to the Beatley Library. Now that's our traffic watch. Now we got to get a check of today's forecast. We need some sunshine, Veronica, and some warmer temps.
We do have some sunshine, that I can give you, but the warmer temps, not until we get to the end of the week, where those higher temps are going to sustain themselves and kind of stick around. But look at Mount Airy now at 16 degrees. Look at Hughesville around College Park, 19 with 21 degrees in town. We'll see your temperatures top out later today during 2-3 o'clock hour in the lower 30s. So not rising in a big way. We hover around freezing, and then we get ready for a little snow on the other side of tomorrow. It's looking a little later now with the timing of this system. Fast mover. It comes in very late Tuesday. So after, I think, most of the afternoon, evening rush is over. But Wednesday morning, I think there will be some delays across the area. This snow could last and linger into your 6 to 7, even 8, 9 a.m. hour on Wednesday. Tomorrow morning, we're dry, 29 to 38 degrees across the area. Road surfaces, plenty dry, but 40 degrees at high temperature. So the higher temperatures for tomorrow briefly will help out road conditions. We'll have more of the road impacts with this midweek system coming up in just a few. Melanie?
All right, thank you, BJ. And here are some other top stories we're following this morning. This wintry weather putting pressure on hundreds of aging water lines and pipes in our area. D.C. Water says it's handled 106 breaks just since the end of December. In Maryland, the WSSC repaired more than 950 water main breaks since the beginning of December. They also set a record in January, and we're only halfway through the month. Virginia also seeing hundreds of breaks, leaving the three big water providers scrambling to make repairs. More KKK flyers found in Loudoun County. Police in Round Hill tell us a man found recruitment flyers on a running trail over the weekend with candy on top of it. A woman found them near her mailbox. Police in Purcellville have gotten similar reports, and flyers were also found in Leesburg. Neighbors woke up to find the messages left near their homes. Investigators say they are working with the FBI. And last night, President Trump denying he's a racist. It comes days after he was accused of making disparaging comments about immigration from Haiti and African nations. The statements were allegedly made during an Oval Office meeting about DACA. Trump now blames stalled talks on a potential immigration deal on the Democrats. And this comes as a government shutdown looms this coming weekend. Autria?
Will be interesting to see what happens, Mel. Thank you. Developing right now at 9:06, new fallout from that terrifying false alert in Hawaii, telling residents that a ballistic missile was imminent and on its way. Of course, it sent people into a panic for a long 38 minutes until the mistake was finally corrected. ABC's Jim Avila is in Honolulu.
This is not a drill. If you are indoors, stay indoors.
Overnight, the veteran technician responsible for turning paradise into panic removed from his position. It happened at 8:07 Saturday morning. This horrifying false alarm of a ballistic missile supposedly heading toward Hawaii, causing sheer terror for more than 1 million people.
We're getting flagged down by a lot of people for that. Asking where the nearest shelter is.
Police caught off guard, and confusion and panic set in.
It was supposed to be a drill. They sent out the wrong message.
Yeah, somebody should get fired.
Hawaii's governor saying an emergency operating center employee accidentally triggered the alert system when trying to close a program. Parents sheltering their children in manholes. This mother of 3, Stephanias, scrambling, trying to protect her kids with blankets.
What's hard as a mother, their whole lives, kids hurt themselves, something bad happens at school. You always say it'll be fine. And I'm looking at my kids going, I don't know if it's going to be fine.
But this morning, questions over why it took 38 agonizing minutes to retract the threat when they knew after only 3 minutes that it wasn't real.
A father sent me a message saying that his 2 children were in 2 different locations, and he had to sit there and think which of his children he was going to choose to spend the last minutes of his life with. And this is what the people of Hawaii just went through.
ABC News went inside the building that monitors threats to the island. A top administrator there told us he didn't originally have the correct application to fix the false alarm.
It took us that time to get the correct button or the correct application to put in a new message saying this is a false alarm, there is no missile inbound.
Authorities say from now on, they'll have that application constantly loaded. Jim Avila, ABC News, Honolulu.
Thank goodness it was just a false alarm. Happening now, people around the country are coming together to celebrate Martin Luther King Day. And Suzanne Kennedy is in D.C., where people are already volunteering. Hey, Suzanne.
Good morning to you, Autria. Lots of activity down here at St. Francis Xavier School and Church. You can see, take a look at all these coats here. They are about to begin a coat distribution. They do this several times a year. They've done it for about 3 years. Today, obviously, one that has importance, special meaning, if you will, because it is, of course, the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King. We've got lots of volunteers here. Deirdre Bulware is here with her son, Grayson, who's a freshman at Good Counsel High School, excuse me. Talk to me a little bit about why you're here today.
Sure. So good morning, everyone. It's really important that we be here today to give back on this very special day celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday. It is a day of service, and through my organizations, but also through our church and just through what we have been taught growing up, it's really important to give back into the community. So while we do it all throughout the year, today is a really special day that we put aside to make sure that we're working in our community to help someone else.
Deirdre, you're here with your son, who is a freshman at Good Counsel. I stand corrected. And obviously, this is an important event for the two of you to do together.
It is. It's very important. And while my son must have service hours for school, and he has to have 10 hours as a freshman, I'm also teaching him and really cultivating in him how important it is to make sure that he shares within his community and that he gives back as well to help other people. So he's actually kind of making this two things of one. So he's getting his service hours, but he's also working. And we're having a good time. It's a lot of fun, and we feel really fulfilled once we leave.
Deirdre, thanks so much. We appreciate it. They're just about to open the doors here to give away the coats. A big event here on this Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. Back to you, Atria.
And such a great event, Suzanne.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mel, thanks. So breaking overnight, not a single Democrat supports the bill, and the public is skeptical. But President Trump and the Republican Party are about to score their first big legislative win heading into Christmas on a high note. Cecilia Vega starts us off with all the latest on the tax reform vote.
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is passed.
With a handshake, the vice president announcing that historic tax vote. A late-night vote interrupted by protesters.
The Sergeant at Arms will restore order in the gallery.
Vice President Mike Pence repeatedly urging calm, while Democrats were outraged. The Senate Minority Leader scolding Republicans for talking while he had the floor.
Can we have order, Mr. President?
The Senate will be in order.
This is serious stuff. We believe you're messing up America. You could pay attention for a couple of minutes.
In the House, it looked like a done deal there, too, complete with a drop-the-gavel moment by a beaming Speaker Paul Ryan.
This is a good day for America.
But their plan hit a last-minute snag. The House forced to take a do-over vote again today, a procedural move not expected to change the historic outcome. The GOP finally giving President Trump his first major legislative victory.
After 8 straight years of slow growth and underperformance, America is ready to take off.
The White House says President Trump made a promise and kept it.
We want to give you, the American people, a giant tax cut for Christmas. And when I say giant, I mean giant.
But aides now say that Christmas gift may actually come late. The complicated bill might not make it to the president's desk until after the new year. And they still maintain the billionaire president will be hurt by the new plan, despite the fact that he stands to win big league.
The president has said that this tax bill is going to cost him a fortune. That's actually not the case. How does he figure this is going to cost him a lot of money?
Look, we expect that it likely will, certainly on the personal side, could cost the president a lot of money.
But he stands to benefit from pass-through deductions, top rate tax reduction, estate tax exemption is doubled. He's going to make money on that.
Look, again, this is a tax plan that we hope benefits all Americans.
All right, well, happening right now, a strike on one of the busiest travel days of the season at Dulles Airport. Workers want more money and better working conditions, and so far about 200 of them have left their post. Ryan Hughes is there now with the latest on this. Ryan?
Yeah, guys, we've been covering this all morning long, and now a picket line has formed here outside the airport. Take a look. You can see these workers. They were chanting and holding up signs saying on strike for good jobs. About 200 employees here at Dulles Airport plan to strike for 2 days. Some of them leaving, walking off the job around 3 o'clock this morning. And with me now, I have Jaime Contreras with 32BJ. Just real quickly, kind of take me to talk about what's the real reason behind this strike? What are you guys out for?
Well, these are workers who work for a company called Huntley Corporation who pay these workers as little as $6.25 an hour. These workers want to improve their working conditions, and instead of listening to them, this company decides to mistreat them and even fire some of the workers in the past, fire some of the workers who speak out for their rights.
And I know you guys have gone on strike before. This time, obviously, timing is everything with your message here. We are now entering some of the busiest travel days of the year leading up to Christmas. Why did you choose this time?
Well, because, you know, while everybody, all of us are going home to see family members and during the holidays, these are workers who are now having to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to be able to sustain their families. We don't think that's fair. We think that these companies at these airports can do better. Everybody else in this country, corporations, the wealthy is getting richer, and then workers are getting the crumbs, and we don't think that's fair.
Do you think this will have an impact on those planning to hit the skies the next couple of days to see their loved ones?
Well, the real reason why we're here is really, one, to protest the mistreatment from Huntley Corporation, but two, so the workers are heard, and so the workers can, do better than they're doing now. These people have to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to be able to sustain their families. Some of them even have to sleep at the airport because they don't have time to go home. We think that anybody who works a full-time job in America should be able to sustain their family with one full-time job. That's not the case with workers here at the airport.
All right, Jaime, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and your message. So there you go. You can see those protesters right now. They plan to strike for at least 2 days. And AAA saying, of course, this comes on 2 of the most busiest travel days of the year leading up to Christmas. 149,000 people alone plan to take to the skies this holiday here in the DMV. We're live at Dulles Airport. Ryan Hughes, Good Morning Washington.
Wow, well, up next on Good Morning Washington, should a woman pay her boyfriend's bills? Can a man take a woman's last name when getting married? Don't go anywhere. We're talking dating and marriage taboos at GMW's water cooler. Coming up next.
From News Channel 8, you're watching Good Morning Washington.
And we start off this hour with breaking news right now from Fairfax County, where police are investigating what they are calling an apparent homicide. They say one person was shot on Colchester Road. Right now, Fairfax Station Road at Colchester Road is closed for this investigation. We do have a crew heading to the scene, and you can look for a live update coming up right here just a little later on. And with that, we say good morning to you, Washington. I'm Atria Godfrey.
And I'm Adriana Hopkins. It is 9 o'clock in our nation's capital, and coming up, multi-platinum singer-songwriter Lisa Loeb is in D.C. for Grammys on the Hill. She'll be here to talk music and a whole lot more. And there's a festival celebrating the DMV's favorite midday meal. BrunchCon is here to give us a sneak peek of what you can see and taste over the weekend. But first, let's get a quick check of today's forecast with Eileen Whalen.
Guys, it is sunny outside right now at 9 o'clock. Temperatures are slowly rising, but it was a cold morning. Wanted to show you our temperature trend over the next 5 days because we keep talking about, spring making a brief return today after winter-like weather yesterday. To put it all in perspective, our average is now 68, and over the next 5 days, we're going to be below that. Today, though, not bad, 66. Tomorrow, 60 degrees, but, most of the day, we're going to be in the 50s, and it's going to be so windy. A cool and breezy Friday, but it will be sunny, 56, and then temperatures around 60 degrees Saturday. Sunday will be the warmer of the 2 weekend days, but beautiful right now as you take a live look from the Mandarin Oriental camera that we have in Washington, D.C., and just looking around the tidal basin, everything changing over, looking so green now. We're in the 40s in many locations, still 39 in Martinsburg, but by this afternoon, picking up the kids from the bus stop, you'll really feel the change, 61 to 67, so a pretty nice afternoon. The evening drive staying dry as well, with temperatures going from 66 at 5 down to 63 at 7 o'clock. But overnight tonight, not going to be as cold, 45 to 50. Could have a little stray shower, but the winds, that's the big thing you'll notice tomorrow. Hair is going to be blowing all over the place. We're going to have kind of that Beyonce hair look tomorrow, guys. We had our great impersonator on yesterday on the show. Coming up in a little bit, we'll talk more about the upcoming weekend because we're halfway there. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. Melanie?
All right, I am too, Eileen. Thanks so much. Here are some of the top stories we're following this morning. We are learning of a secret meeting involving Secretary of State nominee Mike Pompeo and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The president this morning tweeting that the meeting happened last week and that a good relationship was formed. Word of the meeting comes just before a summit in which Kim and Trump are supposed to meet in June. President Trump has said the U.S. and North Korea are holding direct talks at extremely high levels ahead of the summit. The White House says Trump and Kim have not spoken directly. Starbucks shutdown now planned for next month. The coffee chain has announced all of its 8,000 stores across the country will close their doors for one afternoon on May 29th. It is to give employees racial bias training. Now, the move comes after 2 black men were arrested for trespassing as they sat and waited for a friend at a Philadelphia Starbucks. And today, flags lowered to half-staff at the White House and across the nation to honor former First Lady Barbara Bush, who died last night at the age of 92. Today, the White House Visitors Center is open, so you can sign a condolence book for her family. Adriana, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Mel. Well, happening tonight, Maryland officials are laying out new details of their plan to put tolls along I-270 and the Beltway, and drivers are speaking out. Suzanne Kennedy has the details on how this will affect you.
If you sit in the traffic that you see behind me on I-270, now is your opportunity to weigh in on a possible solution. Every day there is 7 hours of heavy traffic here. 250,000 cars travel I-270 on an average weekday. The governor wants to change the situation here and the heavy traffic, and right now the state is holding a series of meetings to get feedback from residents about the proposed widening and toll lanes. Larry Hogan wants to add 4 toll lanes to both I-270 and the Beltway. Only the new lanes would have tolls, the others would remain free. The project would cost about $7.6 billion, and it would be a public-private partnership. If you are interested in weighing in on this concept, you have 2 opportunities within the next 48 hours. The first coming at Clarksburg High School this evening, the second tomorrow night at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Both meetings taking place at 6:30. In Rockville, Suzanne Kennedy, Good Morning Washington.
That is the song we are all singing this Monday morning. As we say good morning to you, Washington, I'm Matria Godfrey.
And I'm Adriana Hopkins. Just look outside. Could it be any more miserable? Thank goodness you're watching us. Coming up in this hour of news, today marks the start of Veggie Week, and we are dishing delicious meals for anyone willing to take the plunge on Meatless Monday. Plus, tomorrow is the tax deadline, so we're giving you last-minute tips to get deductions before the tax laws change next year. But first, let's check on this gray, dreary, overcast, rainy forecast.
Indeed, and all you have to do is just peek out your window. We don't have the downpours as we did early this morning area wide, but there are some pockets where it's still coming down. One of them right over D.C. Look at the clouds here. This is the little fuzzy bottom clouds just racing through the area here this morning, bringing some more rain down around the tidal basin for sure. We're at 51 degrees right now. We started our day in the 60s, and we've seen a big temperature drop compared to yesterday at the same time. Now, with another area of rain coming into D.C., the visibility down to 2 miles here, down to 1 mile in Frederick, Maryland. So we're still kind of waiting on that front to pass and get east of us. Once it does, I think we have less of a chance of rain here for late morning, early afternoon, but it is going to turn kind of breezy, windy. Here's the area I want to focus on now. You see these colors of yellow, orange, and red? That's where it is coming down. Not seeing any lightning, though, but some downpours here headed toward Greenbelt by 9:26 and then Laurel by 9:33. And then this pocket up here, this is pulling into Howard County. Same deal. You're seeing the bright colors where it's really pouring right now, headed toward Eldersburg and then on toward Westminster and Snydersburg, all moving very quickly off to the north and northeast. And this has been a morning where we've had upwards 2.5 inches of rain that led to that flooding, standing water on area roads. Arlington now at 46 degrees after your heavy rain. So our chances are going to be diminishing through the rest of the morning here of seeing that rain as the cold front comes through. So by noontime today, just a 30% chance of seeing some showers. You're looking at the hourly forecast here for today. By lunchtime, 54 degrees the temperature. I think it's just going to be kind of overcast and still feeling damp for the afternoon with that temperature of 56 degrees. But this is a cold front, a powerful one for mid-April. Behind it, the cold air. I'll show you what counties are under a freeze watch coming up. Adriana?
All right, well, happening right now, this morning's rain forcing guests out of the Radisson Hotel in Rockville. That hotel was at 85% capacity. It's now evacuated because of flooding. Suzanne Kennedy is on the scene with the latest details. Suzanne?
Good morning to you, Adriana. New developments within the last few minutes. After 6 or 7 hours of this situation, the general manager of the hotel has finally arrived here. He is now in the basement of the hotel with the local fire marshal looking at the situation here. We want to show you some pictures when we first arrived here, and that was around 6 o'clock this morning. You could see where the storm water had rushed in. A pipe had become overwhelmed or overflowed and went into the basement of the building, and that is where the kitchen and some hallways and some other important spaces located, including the electrical room as well as the alarm system. So that meant that ultimately people had to be evacuated. This woman was woken from her sleep, and here's what she had to say.
We were woken up at 3:30 a.m. and with the fire alarm, and we thought it was a fire. We got outside. We were out there about 45 minutes, and then they told us we had to evacuate, get all our belongings, and they would let us know what would happen from there. And now, what is it, 6 o'clock, and we still don't know.
These folks back here, they are visiting from New York down here for a 3-day stay. They're waiting here in the lobby because they want to get their money back for last night. A lot of people left in limbo for hours here, not knowing if they were going to be put into another hotel or what the situation was. There was a tour group here from overseas. A lot of them did not speak English, so they were just waiting in the hotel. Ultimately, they just got on their tour bus and left. The fire marshal tells me they're going to have to do some work in the electrical panel as well as the alarm system before they're able to open this hotel back up. Reporting live in Rockville, Suzanne Kennedy, Good Morning Washington. Back to you.
All right, Suzanne, thanks so much. And now here are some other top stories we are following this morning. All lanes of Interstate 66 are now back open in Roslyn after massive flooding overnight. This is what it looked like around 5 this morning. Drains became clogged from all that rain, and traffic, it was at a standstill. But traffic is moving once again. And another trouble spot overnight, the Beltway at River Road. A car got trapped in standing water, and there were some big delays there. All flash flood warnings throughout our area are now canceled, but flood warnings remain. And former First Lady Barbara Bush is said to be seriously ill and will not seek further medical treatment. Instead, she is undergoing comfort care. The 92-year-old is home in Houston this morning, battling COPD and congestive heart failure. Autria, we'll send it back to you.
And we wish that family the best. At 9:05, former FBI Director James Comey opening up about his thoughts on the Trump administration and calling the president morally unfit to run the country. In an exclusive interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos, Comey and his wife give their thoughts on the 2016 election, his firing, and more.
January 21st, 2017.
Breaking news coming out of Prince George's County, Maryland at 9 o'clock this morning, where fire tore through an apartment in just the last 2 hours. Ryan Hughes is live on the scene with what we know. Ryan, what's the latest?
Yeah, and Autria, dozens of people have now been displaced just less than a week before Christmas. The latest numbers that we're getting, 30 people without a home this morning, 19 adults and 11 children forced out of their home. Take a look at the scene right now. You can still see that Prince George's County Fire Department are actively working the scene. They're telling us that the fire is now under control, but they are in the cleanup stage. The fire marshal is now on scene as well, trying to figure out exactly how this fire started. But let's take you to some video because, man, this fire was really cooking just before 7 o'clock this morning. This is in the 3300 block of Curtis Drive in Hillcrest Heights. It's a 2-story apartment building. When firefighters got on scene, that building was almost completely involved. The assistant chief saying there was fire on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd floor, and it went through the roof, shooting about 20 to 30 feet into the air. At one point, we're told it was just chaos. People scrambling to get out of their apartment buildings. Take a listen to some residents that fled from their home.
First, you see this big cloud of smoke. And it's like 6:50 in the morning. I think it was going on. There was no fire trucks out here at this time. So I saw people in their balconies, babies being thrown out the window.
It was trying to put it out with a whole bunch of MLM cars, fire trucks. It was just sparkling all over the place.
Yeah, so some scary and dramatic moments. 5 people were treated on scene for smoke inhalation. 3 of those were taken to the hospital. 1 firefighter also suffering a minor injury, but he was able to, be okay and get right back to work. Right now, the cause of what started this fire remains under investigation. That's the latest live in Hillcrest Heights. Ryan Hughes, Good Morning Washington.
All right, and at 9:02, we say good morning to you, Washington. I'm Autria Godfrey.
And I'm Madonna Hopkins. It is just after 9 o'clock in our nation's capital. And coming up, enough with the basic gift boxes. We are showing you how to glamorize your presents with easy and stylish wrapping. Plus, are you tired of turkeys for the holidays? Well, stay tuned as we dish a delicious dinner with Elise, the diva chef, for Taste Test Tuesday. But first, here's a check of today's forecast with Veronica Johnson. Hey, VJ.
Hey there, just about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, I was telling you that our temperatures would rise very quickly.
quickly. And they're doing just that. We started out in the 30s, low of 40s. Now we're at 50 degrees in Frederick, Maryland. Arlington, too. Alexandria all coming in at 50 to 51 degrees. The wind starting to pick up in some locations well north and west of D.C. Frederick, Maryland now, the wind up to 8 miles per hour. And today's west to southwesterly wind will allow our temperatures to continue to move into the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. It's going to be a breezy but a mild day for us. The afternoon really feeling nice and not looking too bad either. We'll have a partly sunny sky across the area. 60 here in D.C., lower to mid 60s down through Virginia and North Carolina. And then those temperatures will start to take a plunge by the end of the work week. But hold on, once they come down for Thursday, they're not going to stay there. Our temperatures go right back up for the end of the work week for the holiday weekend. 52 on Friday, 60 degrees expected on Saturday, and even 50 on Sunday. But notice the cloud cover and even the drops of rain falling. With the next weather system, it's going to linger, and that means rain for your Friday late time period. It means rain for Saturday and Sunday and even Monday. It's not going to be just locally here that rain, but it's going to come to some of the big cities in the east. So if you plan on going to see the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center, maybe in New York City, it's looking like rain, and it's looking like a rain all the way down to points south. But it's rain. It's not snow. This could be a big snowstorm for us if temperatures were low enough. Now, coming up in a couple of minutes, I'll tell you how much snow we could get from this storm system if it were cold enough. And then we'll track also the colder air that follows after Christmas. Melanie?
All right, BJ, thanks so much. And now here are some other top stories. D.C. police are looking for whoever pulled the trigger killing someone in Southeast. Officers tell us the shooting happened on a basketball court outside a rec center in the 1800 block of Bruce Place last night. No word on a possible suspect. Authorities have not released any details about the male victim. A woman fighting to survive after an apartment fire in Northeast. That fire broke out last night on Downing Street near 14th Street. 2 women were rescued from the first floor apartment along with a dog. They were both taken to the hospital, one with life-threatening injuries and the other for an evaluation. A firefighter has minor injuries. It's still unclear what caused that fire. And that crazy scene out of Atlanta, thousands of people stranded when the power went out at the world's busiest airport. At this hour, the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport still working to get all those passengers onto planes, but it will take a few days to get service back to normal. The cause of the power outage, a fire in the service tunnel that affects operations. The CEO of the power company says there will be an investigation to make sure that an incident like this doesn't happen again. We hope so. Adriana?
Well, happening today, the House is set to vote this afternoon on the most sweeping tax overhaul in a generation. The Senate will follow shortly thereafter, which could put the bill on the president's desk by the end of the week. Well, the president has promised big tax cuts for middle-income Americans by Christmas, but a new nonpartisan tax analysis shows the wealthiest stand to benefit the most. ABC's Arlette Saenz has the latest.
President Trump is ready to push the GOP tax plan over the finish line.
It will be the biggest tax cut and tax reform in the history of our country.
But on Capitol Hill, protesters urged lawmakers to say no.
This is what democracy looks like.
So who exactly benefits and who loses out? The bill is a boon for big business. It permanently slashes the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. For the wealthy, the top tax rate is lowered from more than 39% to 37%. Republicans insist the tax plan is aimed at the middle class.
If people are out there working for a living and they feel more money in their pocket, they're going to like the tax cut.
But the individual tax cuts expire after 8 years. And a new analysis found in a decade, 70% of middle-income Americans would see a tax hike, while 76% of the wealthiest would receive a tax cut. And that year, the wealthiest 1% would reap 83% of the benefits.
That's just cherry picking the numbers. We've just finished 8 years of Washington spending your money. Let's try 8 years of you spending your money.
Those living in states with high property and income taxes, like New York, could also lose out. The bill caps state and local property and income tax write-offs at $10,000.
Nothing good, especially from the Republicans. People who voted for Trump are very disappointed.
The bill also repeals the Obamacare mandate requiring all Americans buy insurance. That could lead to 13 million more Americans uninsured.
As of right now, no Republican senators oppose the bill, and only a small group of House moderate Republicans are expected to vote no. The bill could be on the president's desk by the end of the week. In Northwest, Arlette Saenz, Good Morning Washington.
New information now in that deadly derailment in Washington state. Here's what we know this morning. That Amtrak train was traveling at 80 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone when it jumped the tracks. At least 3 people died. About 100 more were injured. ABC's Clayton Sandell is on the scene there in DuPont, Washington with the latest for us.
Oh my God.
It was supposed to be a triumphant day, but in an instant, Amtrak 501's inaugural run on a faster route turned to tragedy.
There was a lot of metal and a lot of screeching and a lot of just being thrown around.
This morning, investigators are on the scene, trying to determine what caused the passenger train to hurtle off an overpass.
The train was going at about 80 miles per hour.
In a 30-mile-per-hour zone, right?
That's right.
Rail cars crashing into vehicles on the interstate below. Officials say so far 3 people from the train were killed, over 100 injured.
It was wet, it was cold, we had down power lines, we also had down trees, it was very slippery, and there's no access to this scene except from I-5. So our responders were climbing up and down this hill trying to get to those victims.
Amtrak Cascades Train 501 left Seattle just after 6 a.m., 85 passengers and crew on board. At 7:34 a.m., a locomotive and 12 cars careening off both sides of the overpass.
Amtrak 501, emergency, emergency. We are on the ground.
Is everybody okay?
I'm still figuring that out. We got cars everywhere and down onto the highway.
The impact of the crash caused passengers to fly out of their seats.
People are flying, you're like, oh my God, this is real. And you start to see the roof kind of, peel, and you're just like, is this ever going to stop?
It was almost like being inside a dryer machine, shook completely to the other side of the train and then back.
When Dan Konzelman and his girlfriend came across the accident scene, the Eagle Scouts sprang into action.
There was injured people walking all over the place in shock, and I was like, dude, somebody needs to just be a leader, sort of organize. One of the trains had tipped upside down and kind of spilled the passengers out, and then the train came down on top of them. That's where I was like, whoa, this is gnarly. And those victims were pretty badly beat up. And even when people are pinned under the train, I grabbed the dude's hand and was rubbing his back, and I was just like, I'm so impressed by you. You're a champion.